market share in the credit union space is going to increase immensely over the next 2 years. To find out how Canada's credit unions are planning to compete with the country's biggest banks and why they're targeting the high net worth segment, we're now joined by Doce Tomic, President and Chief Executive Officer of national wealth management firm Credential Financial. Good to have you with us, Doce. Thanks for coming in again.
Thank you for inviting me back. I appreciate it.
Doce, let's talk a little bit about your company and what your company's core business is.
Sure. Our organization is built and founded by the credit unions to provide wealth management services, encompassing mutual funds, full-service brokerage, insurance, and direct investing.
And how is it different than what some of the other offerings are right now? I mean, what's the value add that you are proposing to potentially new clients here?
It's very different. First of all, the credit union system as a whole is based on the membership of the actual member and client, and the work provided around it is providing value and advice within their communities and bringing together other expertise rather than trying to do it all in-house. So our organization really attempts to bring that to the credit unions as part of our service for them.
It's interesting, just to kind of broaden out for those who might not know, if they're even a member of a credit union, what's the background here in terms of credit unions, who are members, and what that really gives them? I know I'm part of a credit union, and quite frankly, I have lower insurance than I thought I would have.
Well, the credit union system as a whole was founded on providing community enhancement and service and building upon that on a regional basis. So the credit unions have developed that capability over time, where it started with core banking needs, just like the banks, but have evolved now to investment advice, business banking, and commercial banking. I think the fundamental difference with the credit unions and the banks is this service is provided, and what they build and in terms of earnings goes back into the community and back to the members rather than the shareholders.
And how is business so far? What's the response?
Well, last year, and since we were here, this has been our best year in our 20-year history. Our assets under administration have grown about 23%, from just over $14 billion to just over $18 billion in assets under administration from last month. And when we were together launching our correspondent business, that has grown quite nicely as well. About approximately 30 firms have signed on with us.
And when you take a look at the various business segments within financial segments, why high net worth? And I ask you that in the sense that it seems as though that is the strategy of so many of the big banks, right? They're looking for the high net worth investor, and they're looking to buy asset managers. How do you feel about the competitive landscape?
Well, first of all, competition is good. And the transparency with the competition is great for the end investor. Our proposition, again, is very unique in what we're offering. And why the high net worth space? Well, in terms of the data, we look at it 5-6 years out, that there'll be over 2 million investors in Canada with more than $500,000 in investable assets. So that area is expanding quite rapidly in Canada. And also within the credit union space, in the retail banking and business banking, it is expanding quite rapidly as well. So what we're doing is going into that area to help support the credit unions and give them more of the service capabilities as their model and their members evolve.
Doce, I'm wondering as well, with the financial crisis and many people's mindsets and thinking that their assets were in fact protected, it could have been a money market fund, thinking that was protected, only to find out it may not have been. What comfort can you give investors from a regulatory perspective that their assets would in fact be protected with a credit union just as they would with the bank?
Well, we are under the same regulations as an IROC dealer as all of the banks are.
Okay.
So under all of the same scrutiny, audits, etc. The credit unions have been institutions in this organization for 100 years.
Okay.
So they have been around and are very strong and secure. And we are under the same obligations as other IROC dealers.
All right. I think it's important to understand that dynamic. Sure. Doce, thank you so much for joining us. Good to see you again. Thank you.
You too. Thank you.
That was Doce Tomic, President and CEO of Credential Financial.